Well, this is a video response to the Haas USMC about the 1911 Colts. I'm actually, I found that the 1911, in my opinion, is probably one of the best autoloaders that was ever built. The Browning High Power is also a very good gun, and many others that are similar design. But where I'll start is some of the modifications you can actually do on these. Is you can actually make what they call a fully supported chambered barrel, which is this. Notice how the back of it has a ramp on it, and it actually has more metal on the bottom than a non-fully supported chambered barrel. As you can see, there's more metal here than there is here. At any rate, the reason why you would go to a barrel like this is because it actually can take higher pressure than a conventional old-style barrel. At any rate, you can see the difference on the ends from the fully supported, which is this one, and then the non-fully supported, which is this one. At any rate, to go further, in order to actually put this barrel into a gun, you actually have to modify the receiver on the gun itself. So I might as well actually show you the difference between one receiver and the other, and the modification that has to be done. This particular gun right here is a 38 Super. This is one that I actually built up. This is one of my carry guns. This one is highly modified. I put on a high-rise beaver tail, which you can see is different than the conventional beaver tails. It also has much better support for your hand right in here. It just really takes all the hammer bite out of the web of your hand, which you normally get with the other style. At any rate, to begin, by the way, there's some other neat things which I'll show you about this handgun. This is a modification that I do to all of them. Is I actually make the bushing, the barrel bushing, well actually not the barrel bushing, but the spring slide thing out of bronze rather than using stainless steel or steel. The advantage in actually doing it this way is because if you use a piece of metal like this, which is actually, believe it or not, this is a piece of tailgate shock off of a car, you know, that holds the hood up, and it's really nice stuff to use because it's actually chromed, and it makes a very slippery surface and a very tight. If you can see this, very tight. So it actually helps stabilize the slide into the receiver really well. And how I do that is I actually just cut off a piece of this tailgate shock stuff, and I take the original recoil rod from the 1911, and I basically just cut it off right there, bore a hole through it, and then what I do is I actually turn down the piece of the tailgate shock so that it fits into the hole, and then I silver solder it in place. At any rate, that's a great modification. It's better than any recoil rod that you can possibly buy. Another reason why I actually use a full-length recoil rod with these is in this particular 38 Super, which I built up. This is basically, I don't remember if it's a 24 or 26 pound spring, but it's very, very substantial. I'll get to the reason why that has that later. But at any rate, here is a fully supported chambered barrel, which is actually set up specifically for this gun. I don't know if it's worth anything, but 11.5-degree crown on the end of the barrel, which is what I do on all of them. And the barrel bushings themselves, I always buy the oversized barrel bushings, or I just make them from scratch. And that way you can custom fit them to the slide, so it actually fits extremely tight and allows very little motion or anything on the barrel. It makes the gun significantly more accurate. But at any rate, to get into the machining part, what has to be done, I'll have to show you another gun taken apart. And again, I always use the bronze bushing. This particular gun is in a 9mm. However, I have actually 9mm and 38 super barrels for both of these guns, which is a really nice thing about the 1911. You can actually swap them out and have more than one cartridge that's able to be used. At any rate, so the difference in these two types of guns, whether it uses a fully supported chamber barrel or a non-fully supported chamber barrel, is the machining that you actually have to do on it. Hang on, I'll get a probe so I can point this out. This area inside the receiver, this is a non-supported chamber barrel. And well, if you can see, the round part here sits right down on that shelf. If you were to use a fully supported chamber barrel, as you can see, it won't even go in. It can't go into that position. So, at any rate, what you have to do is machine this off so it looks like this, and then you also have to, because this area is actually a little bit bigger, you actually have to bore out, I don't know if you can see this, you have to bore out this area right in here. I think it's like 9/16 of an inch. I don't remember what the original size is, but that's one of the things you have to do. Now, the reason why you would actually want a fully supported chambered barrel in a gun is because it gives you more metal around the bottom chamber area, so the cartridge you use can actually be higher pressure. This gun, it will not even fire factory ammunition. The slide will not even cycle. This is actually loaded up to basically 38 Super plus P plus P. This gives basically 357 Magnum performance in an autoloader. That's the reason why I actually did that. Now, what's also really cool and nice about the 1911s is you can actually have these in many different calibers. 9mm, if you have a 9mm or a 38 Super, it can be, you can have barrels for both. You just have to have separate magazines because the 38 Super is obviously longer than the 9mm. At any rate, I'll show you an example of the difference in length. That one's the 38 Super, that one's the 9mm. Another thing that's very important that I should actually mention about these is the 38 Super is a semi-rimmed case. And in the older guns, the headspace was set off for the rim of the case, which actually caused a problem if you were actually trying to make 38 Super plus P plus P. Because they set the headspace off of the rim, which means down in the barrel, there was basically just a tapered transition between the chamber and the rifling, and there was no cut inside of there for setting the headspace. Like in a 9mm, the headspace of the case is set off of the mouth. In the old 38 Supers, the headspace was set off of the base of the case here. In all the new 38 Super barrels that are produced, as far as I know, the headspace is always set off of the mouth of the case. At any rate, that's a very important difference in what changed in production over the years. So the next thing I guess we want to talk about is how many different calibers and stuff that actually you can have a 1911 in. I mean, there's 9mm, 38 Super, 40 S&W, 10mm, 3845 Clerk, which is a Wildcat, and there's also a 3845 Hard Hat. Not quite sure what the difference between the two of them are exactly. It's basically a 45 ACP case neck down to 38 caliber or 9mm. Then there's also what they call a 45 Super. And what's really cool about the 45 Super is you can actually take a 45 ACP, which shoots a 230 grain bullet at around 800 feet per second, and you can take that same bullet and you can actually shoot it in a 45 Super at approximately 1100, 1200 feet per second. What you need to do again is you have to go to a fully supported chamber barrel to do this, and you have to go to a much stronger recoil spring. In 45 Super, you probably would want to use like I think the last time I built one of those, I used a 24-pound spring, and that actually seemed to work really well. And another caliber that actually you can actually do another Wildcat, which is even cooler, is you can make a 3845 Clerk Super, which is basically, well, I guess I should back up and actually explain how a 45 Super is made, and then you'll understand a 35 Super Clerk or 3845 Super Clerk is basically the same thing. What there is at the base of a 45 ACP case, there is a fairly large tapered area right here on the web. Now, to make a 45 Super case, what you would do is you cut down a 308 or 30-06 case, 270, 280, anything in that family, and trim it down to, you know, the length for a 45 ACP. Now the difference is if you look, this is basically it's not a 308, but the same cartridge family in a cutaway. The web of the case, if you notice, right here, see how this there's a big taper right here? This is a much weaker area in this case. If you actually use the 308 case and cut it down, the web in this area is much thicker, so it can take much higher pressure. The original 45 Supers were actually built on non-supported chambered barrels. However, I think that pretty much everybody that builds them today uses a fully supported chamber. And you can make this case, or make a 45 Super case, and then you can neck that down to 38 or 9mm to make the 3845 Clerk or the Hard Hat. I should also mention that there are actually 22 upper conversions and magazines available for the O-frame Colts, 1911s, which is really a cool thing. At any rate, I don't have one of those. I never bothered. I have other 22s. So, but at any rate, one thing I should also mention, that if you are going to build up one of these guns, I do recommend that you not use a spurred hammer like this. I always use the combat hammers. The area in the combat hammer, in this area right here, is actually much thicker. And I have an example here of what happens to some of these hammers that are not as thick, is they can actually literally break in half. It's very rare to see this happen. This actually I attribute to, well, this gun was an AMT Hard Hat 1911, and or hardball or whatever, I can't remember the name. But I think there was something wrong with the metal. But what was really surprising is that gun, I probably had 250, 350,000 rounds out of it before that actually happened. And that was my carry gun at the time. It was rather disturbing when that broke. At any rate, one of the other cartridges, which I've been thinking of actually building up one of these guns and to add another barrel to a 9mm and a 38 Super on the gun, is to build up a barrel to use these cartridges right here, which is the 7.62 by 25 Tokarev. The base of the case is actually the same diameter as a 9mm or a 38 Super within the range necessary. The 38 Super's base is actually 401 thousandths in diameter versus the 9mm case is actually 387 thousandths in diameter, and I think this is 390 if I remember. So I mean, this would work in there. The only thing that I'm trying to work out is there's a slight difference in length. The Tokarev is a little bit longer. I've thought about actually cutting the frames on the guns to allow to use this cartridge, or the other option would be to make a bullet spud and make a mold to make a bullet for this cartridge, which is actually slightly shorter, and gas check it. It is basically a 30 caliber bullet, so gas checks are readily available. How a gas check works on a lead cast bullet is the base of the bullet is actually relieved right there, and what there is a gas check like this, which is just a little copper wafer, and it basically goes on the base of the bullet like this. And then when you run this through the sizing die and the lubricator to put lubrication into the grooves, it actually crimps the gas check right onto the base of the bullet. So you can actually shoot these, a lead bullet at well over supersonic with a gas check on it.